name is LaToya Smith. My son, Timothy Scott, was murdered March 24th, 2012 on his job. Pass the ban.
This is my son, Alex Sullivan, who was murdered celebrating his 27th birthday in the Aurora Theater Massacre on July 20th, 2012.
This is my son, Dante Green. My name is Nikisha Jackson. Somebody took his life May 16th, 21. Pass the ban now. Right.
My name is Dave O'Connor from Seattle, Washington. I'm here representing my nephew, Jonathan Orbiton, 39 years old, who was murdered on his way back to his car from a music venue in Oakland, California in 2015 by a two-time felon that was released on probation 2 days before. Pass the ban.
My name is Megan Ackerman. I'm from Los Angeles. In 2003, I survived a shooting next to my high school in Woodland Hills, California. I witnessed another shooting in 2012 at a restaurant in Hollywood, California. Pass the ban.
Lexi Rubio, 10 years old, Robb Elementary, Uvalde, Texas. Call the vote to pass the ban.
My uncle, Mark Greenleaf Johnson, was shot and killed on his 24th birthday in '79 in California. And to my students, I love you. For my students, call the vote and pass the ban.
My name is Hala Akbarnia. I'm an ER physician. I treated hundreds of gunshot victims. I'm also a survivor. Please pass the ban.
Hi, my brother was shot 34 years ago when he was in second grade at Hubbard Woods Elementary School in Gwinnett, Illinois. Please pass the ban.
My name is Shannon Paulson. My son is Walter Thomas. He was killed on March 5th, 2019. Pass the ban.
I'm Ann Madsen and Craig Madsen. This is Matt Borbina. He's our nephew, and he committed suicide in college. This is Kara Christensen. She's our goddaughter, and she committed suicide the evening of her 34th birthday. And I also survived the mass shooting at the Fort Lauderdale Airport. Yes, Shannon.
I'm Giselle Merck. I am the mother of J.C. Webster from Silver Spring, Maryland, age 20. To keep us safe, I'm asking pass the ban now.
My name is Marie Deleuze. This is Pierre-Paul Jean-Paul Jr., who was shot and killed in Queens, New York. And I'm also asking to pass the ban. Have the vote. Thank you.
I'm here on behalf of Sandy and Lonnie Phillips to honor their daughter, Aurora, Colorado, Jessica Redfield Gowie. Schedule the vote and pass the ban.
My nephew, Alex Schachter, 14 years old, sitting at his desk in Parkland when the shooter used an AR-15 to shoot right through his door, killing him. Senator Schumer, we deserve a vote. Pass the ban.
I'm here on behalf of Gloria and Javier Casares to honor their daughter, Jackie Casares, who was murdered in the Robb Elementary School shooting in Uvalde, Texas. Call a vote and pass the ban.
My name is Milagros Burgos.
I'm Rafael Burgos.
This is our daughter. She was killed by a stray bullet just sitting and waiting for her younger brother, and she was killed by a stray bullet.
Pass the ban.
We need to save our communities and families, so please pass the ban.
My name is Garnell Whitfield, son of Mrs. Ruth Whitfield. She was murdered while shopping in Buffalo, New York on May 14th. Pass the ban.
I'm Reverend Dr. Jack Sullivan Jr. I direct the Ohio Council of Churches, and I'm the brother of Jennifer Ann McCoy, shot to death in her Cleveland, Ohio home at age 21 in 1997. In the name of God, pass the ban.
Good morning, I'm Jeremy Stein. I'm the Executive Director of Connecticut Against Gun Violence. This is my uncle, David Stein, who died at age 58 when he took his own life with an unsecured firearm that he got from his neighbor. I'm also here on behalf of Mike and Kristen Song, whose 15-year-old died from an unsecured firearm that they got from their neighbor. Pass the ban.
Hi, my name is April Harris. My son got shot when he was 13, turning 14. He was a survivor, and he's still alive. But I have an uncle, Charles Pelham, who died in 1979 to a gunshot wound to the head. His grandson, Keith McGowan Jr., got killed with his 9-month-old son was in his arms. And my cousin, TJ Taiwan Thomas, died in 2013, my gunshot wound. If y'all love y'all people, pass the ban and quit acting like we don't exist, because we do. We're gonna keep coming. Say y'all pass it. God bless you.
My name is Sean Reeves Sr. My son Sean Reeves Jr. was killed in 2011 at the age of 16. Pass the ban.
My name is Sam Salem from Hartford, Connecticut. My son Shane was killed in 2012, October 20th victim of Hartford. I'm here to demand that the ban be passed and that the urban violence dialogue begin.
My name is Patricia Oliver. My son Joaquin Oliver got shot 4 times at the Parkland shooting on February 14th, 2018. Please pass the ban.
My name is Bridget McGinn. I'm here to represent the 5 people murdered at Club Q. And I ask you to please protect our trans siblings who are being murdered at an incredible rate. Protect our community for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you to all the survivors for sharing your stories. We're here to fight for you, and we will create change because we have champions in Congress. And it's my privilege to introduce Senator Richard Blumenthal.
There really are no words. There are no words to match the tableau of tragedy that you have just seen and heard, except to say no one in America is safe, no place is secure, no community is immune from the tragedy of gun violence. And we need to come together to make sure that common sense, sensible measures to stop gun violence are made the law of the land. I want to thank Paul Murray and Newtown Action Alliance for again bringing us together. The vigil last night was a powerful, moving testament to the courage and strength of survivors who have come forward year after year. As I said last night, I look at the faces here today and I see people who have relived this pain publicly again and again, year after year. We're here on the 10th anniversary, but we've been here every year. And tragically, every year there are new survivors and victims to be represented. Our delegation from Connecticut is represented here today. My great colleague Chris Murphy, Jim Himes of the 4th Congressional District, John Larson, and Rosa DeLaura are here. 2 of our colleagues couldn't make it because they're occupied with other legislative business. But we have seen in Connecticut firsthand the tragedy of Sandy Hook and other shootings day after day. And that's why we have some of the strongest gun violence prevention laws in the country. But we know that no state is protected unless all are protected. Because guns have no respect for state borders. They come across state lines, and that's why Congress needs to do its job. And you are here to tell us to do our job. And I'm grateful to every one of you. Everyone who is here, everyone who is here in spirit, because you are making a difference. And I will just tell you, never doubt that you are making a difference. The reason why we were able to pass the Safer Communities Act, the bipartisan Safer Communities Act, is because of you. Your activism, your advocacy is what is driving gun violence prevention, and it is enabling us to break the grip of the NRA and the gun lobby and the gun industry on the Congress. And if Congress does its job, we can overcome those forces. You are enabling us to do it. And we are only beginning. We will take the next steps. Never doubt that you're making a difference. Never doubt we are not going away. We are not surrendering. We will do our job. Thank you for being here. Thank you. And now let me introduce my colleague who deserves really a ton of credit for the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. I was very proud to work with him on it, and Chris Murphy.
Well, thank you very much, Senator Blumenthal. Thank you. I cannot imagine how anyone deals with the grief of losing a child, a son, a daughter, a mother, a father, and then musters the unfathomable courage to come here and speak truth to power. I couldn't do it. Can't imagine that I could do it. But I just have to tell you, as Senator Blumenthal did, you are essential to this fight. There is a power that you have in your conversations with our colleagues, in your effort to shame this body into action, that is irreplaceable. And so I'm sure there are days when you think to yourself, I can't do both. I can't deal with how different, how crippling, right, this grief is, and advocate at the same time. I don't know how you do it, but we are grateful. We are grateful. Listen, we are on a mission, right? We are on a mission to build a movement that compels this country to take our kids' lives seriously. Right? And we have made such progress in the last 10 years. The fact that we were able to pass the first significant gun safety legislation in 30 years is a testament to your work. Right? There was this moment during the debate over the summer where a senator from a bright red conservative state said, you know what, I have to take a look at this legislation because calls into my office are running 10-1 in favor of it. Right? So that doesn't happen without organization. That doesn't happen without grassroots. And I want to tell you that the legislation we passed this summer is working. I got a briefing just last week from the FBI, from the background check system, and they literally showed me a list of dangerous individuals, of people who are contemplating harm to themselves or to others, who have been stopped from getting guns because of the law we passed. Either young buyers who had to go through the extra background check and were stopped, or domestic abusers, those who would have been able to get a gun under the previous law who can't now. And so I understand that law was not close to enough, but it is saving lives as we speak. And now we are here to compel our colleagues to do the right thing and pass legislation that is wildly popular in the American public. We're not asking anybody to support something that has 30 or 40% support. Background checks is supported by 90% of Americans. An assault weapons ban is supported by 60 to 70% of Americans. And they work. And they work. Right? When we had the assault weapons ban, there were less mass shootings, dramatically less mass shootings in this country. States that have universal background checks, there are less people, dramatically less amounts of individuals who are killed by guns. And so I am just so grateful to all of you for continuing to do this work of pushing and pushing and pushing our colleagues to action. I'll leave you with this. I really look at it this way. For the 10 years leading up to Sandy Hook, the gun lobby got anything they wanted from Congress. And they literally dreamed up stuff like legal immunity for gun manufacturers, and they got it. Well, after Sandy Hook, we started building the modern anti-gun violence movement. And for 10 years after Sandy Hook, there was sort of gridlock here. The gun industry didn't get what they wanted, but frankly, neither did we. Well, now we are entering a new era in which we have the power, right? In which we are going to be able to pass laws on a regular basis that make the death of kids in mass shootings or on the streets of Hartford less likely. This is our moment to compel Congress to action, to not be satisfied for half a loaf. And the only reason we are in that position is because all of you. And so I stand here just in awe of what you all have been able to do. I'm so grateful to Poe and Newtown Action Alliance for bringing you all together. And we are here, the Connecticut delegation, who feels this so deeply, to commit ourselves to continue to be your partners. We have a great House delegation. As you mentioned, you got so much legislation pending in the Senate. It's passed the House of Representatives because this delegation requires the House to stand up and act on your behalf. So let me first introduce our leader in the Connecticut delegation in the House, Congresswoman Rosa DeLauro.
Thank you so much, Chris. And I too, I look at this room and I look at the people gathered and I think about the heartbreak. And you know, I can sympathize, I can empathize, but it's not been, your experience has not been my experience. And that is why I just say, I always say this, there are two things, many things my mother taught me, but two things in particular, that we will never give up and we will not take no for an answer.
Yeah.
And that is what this delegation is about. And I say thank you to you, Poe, for the Alliance. Thank you for the work that you do. I wrap my arms around in concert with my colleagues in the House and the Senate, with Senators Murphy and Blumenthal. And I might just add, Congresswoman Hayes had a family emergency. She went home to Connecticut. Joe Courtney has a bill that's on the floor, which he's dealing with business with, and both John and Jim, there was a vote called in the House. I voted before I came over, but they dashed to go and meet the vote. But we're there. We are there. You are here. We are here with you. And we lock arms with you because we are never, ever going to let this go. We are going to. You know, what happens is, as you pointed out, where you can't and you don't get tired, as difficult and as hard as it is. You know, times change. The environment changes. The players change. And what Chris was talking about, we couldn't have done what we did 10 years ago or before 10 years. And there are new people, new interests, new folks who have gathered as part of the coalition to say that enough is enough. And that is where we need to go with common sense reforms. And I talk about common sense reforms, and Chris is the first one to speak out about, the Safer Communities Act, and it's not all that we wanted, all that he wanted, and what he fought for there in the vote, but it was the best we have been able to do in decades in this country on gun safety. And that is a milestone. We do not look at that as, oh my God, we didn't get everything we wanted. No, you just keep at it and at it and at it, and we will get there. We have seen over 600 mass shootings this year, 40,000 deaths, beyond comprehension. And this is uniquely an American problem. And it's long past due that we take action to deal with the carnage. We're here to honor you today. The survivors, the families that lost loved ones. We gather, it's a moment of reflection, and we say thank you to each and every one of you for being here. And it takes courage to tell the stories. And I listened to Kristen's song one day. She was talking about her boy Ethan. And she says, every morning I get up with my goal is to help to get the kind of legislation that we need, and in her case, Ethan's law, which we passed in the House of Representatives. And that's because he and Michael went door to door, not only in the State House where it's been passed, but here door to door to get our colleagues to vote for it. Is it the end? No. We've got to get a Senate to vote for it. But we will. But we will. Don't lose sight of that. But that goal that you get up with every morning to make a difference on behalf of your loved ones and your family is what is the strength of what we are doing. 10 years since Sandy Hook. We all remember where we were that day. We all remember where we were that day. The babies that we lost, the teachers, the administrators who gave their lives that day. And that is something that when you come and talk about this, we can, to use a phrase that is used, we can never forget. And we cannot let others forget what occurred on that day. It's unspeakable, and what's happening now is unspeakable and unrelenting. When you look at Newtown, when you look at Portland, a grocery store in Buffalo, an elementary school in Uvalde, a Walmart in Chesapeake, a club in Colorado Springs, and on the campus of the University of Virginia. Mass shootings are becoming just a part of our culture. We cannot allow that to continue. We can't be desensitized. And you help us to turn that around, to not make people be desensitized to what is happening. You are a constant reminder of what our obligation is, what our moral responsibility is in this country to make that difference. You know, President Obama said at the time after the Newtown tragedy. He says, while nothing can fill the space of a lost child or a loved one, all of us can extend a hand to those in need to remind them that we are there for them, and that it's praying for them, but it is more than praying for them. It is taking the actions that are needed in order to reverse what's happening in our country. The love that they felt for those that they lost endures, not just in their memories, but it endures in our memories. Let us never let up for one moment to let people know what that loss is, that how deep that wound, that hole in your heart is, and that it is the obligation of those who serve in this institution, from wherever they serve from, all over the country, to make their voices heard loud and clear, that we go forward, we don't go backward, and that we will honor your loss, your sacrifice, and it is our commitment to honor you every day in the actions that we take in this institution. Never give up. Never take no for an answer. That's what is going to get us through this fight. Thank you.
Before we go into Q&A, since we have a little bit of time, I was wondering if Manny could come up and just talk about something that's really important to him.
Thank you. And thank you, Chris, for being here and for your help. And I love to hear that you need us to do what we do, right? It explains a lot of things that we do. So I think that we're together in this. But what is it that it needs to happen? That's a question that I get a lot. And as Senator Chris Murphy said, it's hard to imagine for others. I can't even imagine. I get that a lot, and I guess you all get that a lot. So I want to help people imagine what this is like. And probably all of us were in a room waiting to see what happened. We were afraid. We still don't know what happened, but we have that anxiety of something could have happened. There's a long, cold period of waiting. It takes you, and then you're in shock. You're listening to the news. The process of waiting is forever. It takes hours. And you're praying, hoping that your loved one is safe somewhere, or injured somewhere, but not dead. And we're in that room waiting. And suddenly, we hear that name. And our heart jumps out. And our life breaks. And the pain chases us forever. Because we just know that we lost the person that we love most in the world. And in an instant, we become part of the group. The group that you just have. Names of kids. Parents, like Patricia, that need to be here in this podium, mentioning her son's name. and try to find a way to honor him. Let's help you imagine if you're waiting in a room, not knowing what happened to your loved one. And suddenly, Allison Schumer, Ellie McConnell, Claire McConnell, Porter McConnell, Heather Manchin, Brooke Manchin, Levi Sanders, Daniela Rubio, Anthony Rubio, Dominic Rubio, Tag Romney, Josh Romney, Craig Romney, Ben Romney. Some others have not been identified yet. These are the names of your kids, members of Senate. Now you know how it feels. A little bit. The good news is that your kids are okay. But you just heard the name, like we did. I cannot guarantee that we'll stay okay. That's more your job than my job. You decided to be okay with not banning assault weapons. You thought that instead it's a good idea to finish? All right. I'll finish with this. Be ready today because you will receive a lot of these DNA cards in your offices. We are delivering these to you. And pretend for a minute, think for a minute, that it could be your case. And you could be me doing what I'm doing today. Thank you both.
I think we've run out of time, so did you want to do questions and answers, Senator?
I think we have a vote.
Yeah, you have a vote, so, but if the group can stay back, we're going to do a quick group photo and then we're going to leave.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, everyone, if you could just come up to the front, let's get a group photo.
Some stand, some sit. If you can sit somewhere in front, everyone else just file in. But we will leave some people down below. Let's go, everybody. Oh, I will. I always do. I always do. Come on, let's go.
I'm just coming over here to let you guys know that I'm gonna, when this is shut down, I'm gonna give a couple remarks about the meetings with Leader Schumer. If anyone can stay, I think it's a really important conversation. Everyone's shutting it down. I think it's an important conversation to have. I don't know if somebody can keep rolling on. Lauren. Okay. Do you know if you could take a minute and talk to me? And I could just talk to you? I understand. No, It's okay, I understand. Will you keep pushing it? Like, I think it's a conversation we really need to have. So that. Huh? No, like, hold on, I'm gonna get this. Wait, let me get a picture. Oh, can I get my picture?
No, you're good. One second here, hold on, I got myself set. You guys look. This look good. All right. Now. Slide. Maybe go on the other side of the chest. There we go.
Can somebody give a iPhone so we can get a shot too?
Yes. I'll do that next.